Okay, welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we're going to start working on the motor. I got to put the cam in, got to put the breather gear in, and set the timing marks on both of those. And you'll see in this video, I kind of messed that up to begin with without checking the manual, and I got the timing marks wrong. That's why, always check the manual, which that violated my own rule of looking at it first. But I did correct it in the end, so we get the timing marks all set up. So check this out. Okay, so one of the things I got to do before I work on the motor is I have to replace this cam gasket in there. Well, not gasket, but yeah, it actually is a gasket, I guess. I don't know that there's any easy way to really get this out. Okay. So this is the seal for the cam bearing, not for the cam bearing, but for the cam. Let me get a rag here. So I just put this in my parts washer and kind of got it all cleaned out. I got to do some more polishing on this, but for the most part I think it's kind of done. I'm not going back to a points system with this. I'm going to put a Dynatech electronic ignition here, just like I did the Sportster. I kind of like those better than dealing with the points. But so let me just get what I can out of here. Okay, so here's the new cam cover oil seal, 7099 big twin double lip seal. So there's that. This must be the original one. So I'm going to see, I think I'll go put this in my press and we'll press it in. Okay, so I got a 1-inch socket that's pretty close to this end. So let's take this out and we'll get this put in. Let me just get it kind of set up here. Okay, that looks good. It is in there. So let's go back over to the motor. Okay, so before we get into any of this, one thing we have to do is to dry fit this breather gear with the washer or the shim or whatever you want to call it that goes in here. So what we do is we take the gasket. How does that go? Like this. And we got to put the gasket on there. And then we take the breather valve. We're just going to, you dry fit this. You don't use any lube or anything on it, any assembly lube. And we put the spacer there. So the spacing on this calls for 1 to 5 thousandths on the end of this. Let me get a 7 thousandths. If I can find one here where, yeah, see, 10 thousandths is just barely, I'm getting resistance at 10 thousandths. So I'm thinking at 10 thousandths. So I'm thinking it's going to be 9. Let me try 9 thousandths. Actually, I'm not even getting it at 9 thousandths. Yeah, I'm not, all right, so it's just barely fitting at 9 thousandths. So if we subtract 6 from that, we're 3 thousandths. So we're right in the middle, so we're good for tolerance on this. We got a 3 thousandths difference on it. So now we can rotate this around. We can put some assembly lube in there. Whoops. Oh, I don't want to lose that. We can put some assembly lube in here and probably put the cam in. I'm still waiting for the new bolts for the cam cover, but we can at least start working on getting the cam and everything back in. Okay, so we can get the timing set on here. So we have 2 timing marks. We have one here that lines up with the cam, and we have one here that lines up with the breather. So I'm going to recheck this again. I want to check the manual. I think this is off maybe 1 tooth. I want to check it just to make sure. Okay, so I got the timing marks right on this now. So this the pinion gear actually has 2 marks on it. So the spline lines up with this one here, and then the breather lines up with that one. I thought this lined up with this, and this one lined up with that, but this one actually doesn't really mean anything. If you look at, let me move this out of the way a little bit. If you look at the manual, oops. If you look at the manual, you can see that spline there is lined up, and then that timing mark just goes off to the right. It doesn't line up with anything over there. So, and then you do the breather valve over here. So it is timed right right now. Let me just get this back to where it was, like that. So you can see how it's in between the gear here, the timing mark, and that dot has to line up in between. If you do it over here, it won't line up. And then this gear here lines up with this timing mark over here. On the stock cams, it would be a line like this, but this is an Andrews cam, so it has the dots on it. Okay, so we're all set as far as timing. I think I've got everything in there the way it should be, and we'll put some assembly lube on everything and then button this cover up. Okay, so now that I got that done, I can actually put this case together. So I don't want to forget this. That's for the breather gear. So let me get some white grease we're going to put around here, then we'll put the gasket in, then we can put the cover on. All right, so we're making some decent progress here. This kind of helps seal the gasket on there. I'm not going to put a whole lot. And if it gets in the oil passages, it'll end up just washing out. So, okay, I'm just going to leave that on here now because, like I said, I've got new fasteners coming. And there's no point in putting the old ones in. This will stay in here. They should be here tomorrow, then I can button this up. Always pays to look at the manual when doing anything to get this stuff set right. Okay, so I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. We'll hit the oil pump in the next video.